Hey, so today I'm going to show you the exact automation I use to turn my B-roll footage automatically into an AI searchable library. Literally, all you have to do is upload, you trigger the automation, and you can find your B-roll within a library organized, tagged, and categorized to your specific liking. I'm so excited to walk you through this, but before we get started, my name is Tina. I help creators like you build content systems that work for you, not against you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's video. AI B-roll library, and all you have to do is truly just upload. So when we get this process started, you really just only need 3 ingredients. You're going to need your iPhone or your phone, and as long as you have Google Drive access to your phone, you're pretty much good to go. You're going to need Gemini as an application and your large language model for you to upload the files and actually download and describe the scenes of the videos. Not any large language model outside of Gemini really does this well that I've seen. And then you're going to need the database automation that I'm about to show you in just a second. So just a couple things to note, from iPhone to MP4 files. One of the challenges that I tend to see, especially when I was starting this process, is that it is such a pain for you to actually take your beautifully recorded, beautiful camera videos and actually translate it into MP4. You all either need to download an app on your phone to do that automatically, or you need to, go on the laptop and do that somehow, some way as well. And so that is a little bit of a challenge. And that's what's great about this automation is that once when you upload the file into Google Drive, we're going to trigger an automation that automatically does that for you, so you no longer have to do that yourself. Now, the pro tip that I'm also going to recommend specifically when you are actually, filming your B-rolls, what makes a really good B-roll is things that are just truly like behind the scenes. So I always like to take videos of my walks, of my dog that you see there, of me working, of nature, anything like that. That's really like your day-to-day activities. And so that's, again, just what makes it really great B-roll. And that's what I've seen. Now, in terms of the automation and how this actually really works, the way that this happens from a high-level workflow perspective is that once when a file gets, dropped into your Google Drive, what's going to end up happening is we're going to trigger an automation where new file and folder is going to be the trigger. Once when that new file comes in, you're going to leverage Gemini specifically to watch the video and to describe the scene to you. Once when you get that information, you are going to leverage OpenAI, or you can use Gemini, whatever is best for you. But I, in this case, use OpenAI. And I basically say, hey, OpenAI, I need you to review this description, and I need you to self-categorize. Tell me if the description is actually, tell me what the description is and categorize it as not necessary. Is this a lifestyle video? Is this a nature video? Is this whatever it is, right? And that's kind of a little bit more insights from there. Then you're going to actually have OpenAI take it a step further and actually give the video a title, a name. And the reason why you want that specifically is because it's going to make it easy for you to look at your library and have a title of what actually is the video. Rather than watching on the video and figuring out what to pick, you just have a library that does this for you. Then you're going to basically have this automation take, the categorization, the title, the description, and the video itself and put it into an Airtable database so that you can view all of your files, all of your B-roll in one specific place. Then the last step, which is more of an admin step in my experience, is you're just going to delete the file from Google Drive because, again, the folder in Google Drive is just like a placeholder to transfer information, but it's not actually going to be any form of storage. So you don't want to have double storage, right? So you're just going to have the file in the Airtable database specifically itself. All right, so going ahead and getting into this specifically, you are going to have a database, a library for you to store all that information. So definitely check out the description so you can get all the templates that you need for this, but you're going to need a library that has the name, because we're going to go ahead and have a title of the video, the description of the scene itself, the video file in MP4 format, as well as the type. Now you could feel free to change, the categories that you see fit, but I've just go ahead and created this. And then I always like to have an identification and record ID of the file itself. Then what you're going to need to do is you're also going to need to create a B-roll folder specifically in Google Drive. And what's really critical is that you want to have this B-roll accessible so anyone with the link can view that specific video.
Just a little housekeeping things here. Then you're going to have our automation that you see here. So what this automation does is that we're going to go ahead and look into Google Drive. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have the trigger of watch files in that specific folder. Now for Google Drive, you're just going to connect to your Google account, and then you're going to do it by created time. Last modified time doesn't matter. In this case, I would just use created time, connect it to your drive, and then the way that you're going to add folders and try to find the folder that you created, I would recommend to name it B-roll. You can go ahead and choose a specific folder. Now, the file types to watch, I would recommend doing it all because I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. But again, one thing that it's important to you to know is that in your B-roll folder, it should only be B-roll. So only videos in that folder. And so for this case, we're going to do a limit of 1, meaning that we're running this automation once. Now, as maybe let's just say, if you have 15 files in there, the limit is going to be 1. So it's going to pick one of those files. However, once when you see that this automation is working and ready to go, I would just, put 10, 15, however many files you want, but we're just going to use 1 in this case right here. Then we're going to do that very great piece of actually taking that file, taking that video, and especially if you filled it with your iPhone, and automatically convert it to MP4. And that is really critical. And so you're going to do the input as import a file from the URL. You're going to go ahead and grab the web content link that you see here. So if you just need to search it, you're just going to go ahead and type in web, and then you should get the web content link, and then click it, and then it'll go into there. So in terms of the format, you want to select the input format. And so you already know the input format, especially if you are going to be doing this on iPhone. The input format is going to be .mov. And then the output format is specifically going to be MP4 because it usually most applications that you're going to use is going to be MP4, and that's the best for you to do anyways. And then same thing similar, you're going to have your original file name. And so if you're ever searching up what that is, you could just type in original file name, and then you'll get that here. Very specific and very key thing is that you want the export option to be downloadable. For some reason, it automatically does it as no. In this case, you want it to be yes, because you want to download the file so that you're able to upload the file and further automation steps as you see fit. So let's kind of go ahead and go into the next step of Google Gemini. This is the part where actually the magic happens. So like I mentioned earlier, not many large language models have the capability of like feeding video and describing the scene to you. Google Gemini does that really well. And so again, you're just going to connect Google Gemini into this, and you're going to get your API key, and you're going to hook it up. And then you're just going to select the previous step of taking that file and mapping it and, uploading it into Google Gemini. Now, there is going to need to be a delay from you uploading the file to then working with the file. Now, my recommendation is I personally use 150 seconds. However, if you have longer videos, more than like your standard 30-second, it's going to take some time. So I would, bump it up higher, right? And so you just want a delay piece so that you're giving the automation time to actually upload the file accordingly. Now we're going to go ahead and do our first step of actually taking this and, having a conversation with the file that we just uploaded. So same thing, hooking it up to Gemini. I'm using the AI model of Gemini 2.0 Flash. Then I'm specifically having 2 items in this piece here, where one, it's going to be the user, and there's going to be the file where I actually upload it. And so you're going to see that you're going to need the meme type. Now, in the beginning, I was like, what the hell is a meme type? Well, actually, in this case, again, it's just, we're going to go ahead and look at the outputs that we generated in this step right here. Meme type. Okay, great. Just going to put that in there. The URI, I'm assuming that is kind of like the designated me uploading the file, right? Great. Just put that in there. And then my prompt is really not that difficult. I seriously just say, hey, describe the scene to me. And then we go ahead and go from there. So we're going to go ahead and continue. And this is kind of the OpenAI step where I basically, have given it specific criteria, right? So this is where, you may want to customize it a little bit more to you. So for me, I'm looking specifically within lifestyle or work categories. And so you can feel free to update those categories and, copy all of this and put it into the Gemini prompt, or sort of in the ChatGPT prompt, and put that. And so if the description mentions specific things, then, categorize it as work. And then if not, categorize it as lifestyle. So basically you're taking the results, which is the description of what Gemini saw in the video to describe the scene, and you're putting it to here, and you're putting it to ChatGPT to give it a category output. Then we actually want to, give the scene a specific name. And so I actually want the title to be a name that is, legible, descriptive, and actually tells me what the hell is going on, rather than me having to watch the video. And so that just makes it easy for me to search within my library database, and also just kind of review it and see what's in there generally. Again, we're just taking the scene and plopping the results into here specifically. Then we're going to go ahead and save. Then we're going to call upon Airtable specifically. And so in this case, we are going to use a different base for purposes of this video. And so we are going to use, let's see, template. As you can see, I have lots of templates. We are going to use this template of short video automation. So let's kind of go ahead and walk through this. So we're going to use the table B-roll. And if you're wondering, like, what is table? B-roll, tab, table. That's the easiest way I can describe it. So tab is B-roll. So we're going to go ahead and choose this table specifically, B-roll library. Great. Now we're going to map the fields. We're going to map all the data that we had created in these previous messages as an example. And so let's kind of go ahead and, go from there. So the name of this is, we are going to give it a name. This is here, the result. And then for this one right here, we're going to put the description. So let me go ahead and do this. All right, so walking through this, we are going to have the name that we just created with ChatGPT. So I took the name and I put it here. We're going to have the results of the description that we created, which I used Gemini to create. We're going to have the result, put it in there. Now the attachment, in this case, we're not using the web content link from Google Drive, because remember, that might be a move file. What we're going to do is we're actually going to take it from Cloud Convert. And so we're going to take this and we're just going to put the temporary URL here, and we're going to put the file name in there specifically as well. Now the type, that is going to be the categorization that we have here. We're going to put the result and we're going to put it here. We're going to go ahead and save and continue in this automation. So continuing in this automation, we want to delete the file that we actually, went ahead and did. So we're going to go ahead and do it manually by file, and then you're going to choose file ID. So the way that you get the file ID, you're going to go ahead and find it right here. That's the file ID. And then you go ahead and continue. So that is pretty much the automation in a nutshell. All right, so this is a little sneak peek preview of it running. As you can see, it's working so far so well. We'll get back to it in just a second. So it looks like we came across a little error, and I think I know why. So specifically, it's very case sensitive on the information that you're going to use here. So we're going to go ahead and change our options into lowercase, just to make it a little bit more case sensitive and friendly. Now, of course, you could change the prompt so that it's, going well with your options, but I'm just giving you that as an example. And honestly, I don't even think we need these other fields right here. So we're just going to go ahead and go from there. Confirm change. And we are going to go ahead and rerun this automation and see how it goes. So let's go ahead and get it done. So as you can see, it's working. Take two. Looks like we have a success. It went ahead and ran through. Now let's kind of go ahead and look at the results. So we have this, and it described the scene to me, gave the description of it, also gave me the video itself in MP4 format, and also went ahead and self-categorized it. Now, if you're someone who's like, okay, this is pretty much good to go, as you can also see, it deleted the file, so it's not taking extra storage. What you would do next to make sure that this automation is run live, I would increase the limit to as whatever limit you would suggest or use yourself. I personally like upload maybe like 15 B-rolls a week. If you have more increase the limit as you see fit. Then I would have the custom schedule to probably check at least once a day or once a week, whatever works best for you. I personally like to just upload all my files on Sundays, and then Monday this automation will trigger and I'll see them all in my library. But that's how the automation works. And so hold on for one last piece right there.
And that's the full workflow. Your B-roll is automatically organized, titled, and ready to go without you having to manually sort and find the best B-roll for your specific video. Now, if you're ready to take this a step even further and you, let's just say, want to create digital products, but you just want to focus on creating digital products rather than creating everything after that comes after creating a digital product, I'm talking email sequences, sales pages, and all those things, and you really want a tool or automation to help you get there, then you're going to want to go ahead and make sure to watch this video right here, because it's going to show you the exact tool and automation that I use to do exactly that, where I'm able to create digital products faster. So please go ahead, give this a like, subscribe, and tell me your number one takeaway in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.